evening everybody. Today we are going to discuss another part of this management principle, that is centralization. Centralization means what? If the decision making power with the hand of few people only, or with the hand of the top level management, then that is known as centralization, where the lower level management and middle level management has to only implement the decision. They are not allowed for the decision making, then that is known as centralization. Centralization means the decision making power is there with the few people only the top level management has to take the decision, that is known as centralization. So centralization is said to be a process where the concentration of decision making is in a few hands. All the important decisions and actions at the lower level, all subject and actions at the lower level are subject to the approval of top management. So whatever the decisions taken by the lower level or the middle level management, that depends upon the approval of the upper level. Until or unless the upper level management or top level management has to approve, the lower level or middle level management should not do the particular task. So if the decision lies with the few hands, that is by the top level management only, then that is known as what? Centralization. Okay, centralization is the systematic and consistent reservation of authority at central points in the organization. Okay, so the authority lies with the top level people only at the central people only. Okay, so it is the authority which is reserved for a particular group of people only, so that is known as what? Centralization. And the implication of centralization can be reservation of decision making power at top level. So in case of the centralization, it is the reservation of decision making power lies at the top level management, and reservation of operating authority with the middle level management. So operation, okay, who has to operate that particular decision, who has to operate that particular authority, it is the middle level management, and reservation of operation at lower level at the direction of the top level. When the top level people direct only with the direction of the top level, this lower level has to operate their course of action, their day-to-day activities. So it is the centralization where the authority lies with the top level management, and top level has the power to take the decision, top level has the reservation of taking the decision, that is known as centralization. So what is the purpose of centralization? To facilitate personal leadership. So what is this facilitation of leadership? If you are a good leader, if you want that your leadership style has to be considered by that particular organization, you want to implement your leadership skills, then on that case you have to go with this centralization, where whatever you are saying, whatever the decision you are taking, that will be final for all. So in order to prove your leadership, in order to facilitate your personal leadership, so what is required? The centralization required to provide integration. If you want to integrate each and every activity, each and every level of the organization, upper level, lower level and middle level, if you integrate all the things, all the activity of the organization, then the centralization can be helpful, where people should obey you, people should listen you, where everything is based upon the decision taken by the main authority, the central point people. So it provides also the integration to achieve uniformity of action. So everybody is having certain duties and responsibilities, certain authority will be given to you, and though the objective you are having, the target that is being set, you have to show your action. Okay, so everybody is having everybody is in the uniformity in their action. So to achieve uniformity of action, so everybody will have follow that particular direction of the top level management, and they have to achieve the uniformity in their action. So everybody are doing the similar type of work, and they have to listen from the top level management who are taking the decision, and to improve the efficiency of the organization. Okay, so you need to improve the efficiency of the organization, you have to reduce the cost, you have to reduce the duplication of work. So at that time this particular centralization can be benefit for your organization. Okay, so these are the purpose of what? Centralization. Opposite to centralization, what is that? Decentralization. Decentralization means what? If all the people who can come and who can be allowed for the participation in decision making, whose views are utmost important and they can allow for the decision making, then that is known as what? Decentralization. Where you are allowing the lower level, middle level management also, they should come forward for making the decision, then that is known as decentralization. Decentralization is a systematic delegation of authority at all level of management and in all of the organization. In a decentralization concern, authority is retained by the top management for taking major decisions and framing policies concerning the whole concern. Rest of the authority may be delegated to the middle level and lower level of management. Only the policy related decision has to be taken by the top level management, and all the routine type of decision has to be taken by lower level and middle level management, where the authority, they are having the authority, the middle level and lower level management has the authority to take the number of decision or routine type of decision, whatever the decision they are coming, and they are allowed for taking the decision is known as what? Decentralization. You are allowing the people to take the decision rather than you are taking all the decision, everybody has to obey that particular decision. You are allowing others, other level of management, let they should come, let they should enjoy certain authority to take the decision. Then what is the distinction between the delegation and decentralization? So what is the difference between the delegation and decentralization? Look at, delegation is the process of devolution of authority, whereas decentralization is the end result, which is achieved when delegation is systematically repeated to the lowest level. If the delegation is systematically repeated to the lower level, to the lower extent, then that is known as what, everybody? Decentralization. And in delegation, what happens? It is the process of devolution of authority. You are transferring the authority from one level to another level, where decentralization is the end result. Okay. Then delegation can take place from one individual to another individual. So delegation always made from superior to subordinate. Okay. And it is a complete process, but decentralization is completed only when the fullest possible delegation is made at all levels. So one party to another party, one superior to another subordinate, the delegation happens. But in case of decentralization, it happens with everybody to the lowest level, the authority can be transferred. So that is known as what? Decentralization. Then in delegation, control rests entirely with the superior. डेलीगेशन में क्या होता है? जो कंट्रोल होता है किसके पास रहता है? उसके सुपीरियर के पास रहता है. बट इन डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन द टॉप मैनेजमेंट एक्सरसाइज ओनली ओवरऑल कंट्रोल एंड डेलीगेट्स द अथॉरिटी फॉर डे टू डे कंट्रोल टू द डिपार्टमेंटल मैनेजर. सो टॉप लेवल हैज टू सी ओनली द कंट्रोल एस्पेक्ट, ओनली द प्लानिंग एस्पेक्ट और कंट्रोल एस्पेक्ट. These two things has to be concerned by the top level management, but other things, okay, the day-to-day activity, the day-to-day controlling of the organization, day-to-day authority has to be delegated to the lower level management. So that is known as what? Decentralization. In the decentralization process, except the controlling activity, all the day-to-day activities the day-to-day activity decision has to be taken by the departmental manager. Then delegation is a must for management, as subordinate must be given sufficient authority to perform their duties. Okay, so delegation is bound. You should delegate certain authority to your subordinate so that he can perform his duty. But decentralization is optional. So it depends upon the organization whether he should allow the other people to participate in the decision making or not. So it depends upon the top level management whether they want to disperse their authority to the other. They want to give the authority to the fullest possible level. It depends upon the organization. That is delegation. So that is decentralization. The delegation is a technique of management used to get the things done through others. Okay, you can delegate the task to others so that the things to be happen. But in case of decentralization, both a philosophy of management and a technique. So decentralization is both philosophy as well as technique, but this delegation is and only it is a technique. So delegation is technique, whereas this decentralization is both philosophy as well as what? Technique. Then what is the advantage of decentralization? So it relieved to top executive, those who are top executive, those people who are taking the crucial decision, those who are taking the planning decision, those who are taking the strategic decision, those people who are taking certain decision related to merger, acquisition, diversification, product launch, product related decision, product line. So it relieves certain things. It relieves the pressure from the top level management. Top level management should see the only control aspect, and other things can be given to other level of management. So it relieves certain things. Okay, so the workload is being reduced to the top level executive. The overload of work is reduced. Then motivation of subordinate. If the subordinates are allowed for decision making, okay, if their views are taken into consideration, then what happens? They are motivated. Okay, they are also think that the organization is taking care of their views, so the it will motivate the subordinate, and the subordinate will feel better. Then for quick decision making, okay, you should go for decentralization. Rather than the decision should take the top level management, and it has to pass through the middle level and lower level management, which is time taking device. So it is better that everybody will take the decision, and the decision happens at quicker manner, because you are allowing everybody to participate in the decision, and everybody know the result quickly. So quick decision. Then growth and diversification. If a company wants to grow, and if the company wants to go with more than one product, then each and every product is having the department manager, each and every product is having the particular supervisor. At that time decentralization can be helpful, because the department manager or supervisor can take decision based upon the requirement of that particular product, because the company is having more than one product, because the company is having a growth company, it is having more than one product. Then executive development. So if you are allowing other management to take the decision, it might happen that there are certain people who are taking very good decision, and it might happen that the people who are there in the lower level management, they can shift from the lower level management to executive post. So there will there is a creativity, there is a innovation will arise, so which leads to the development of what? Executives. Then effective communication. If the organization become wider, then if you want to communicate with everybody, then decentralization can be the trick. Decentralization can be the technique where you can have a better communication among all the members of the organization. Then efficient supervision and control. For your effective supervision as well as control of your business, you require certain decentralization, where the people are having the authority to take the decision whatever the situation arises. So it is a better better techniques for the supervision as well as controlling of your department or product or anything like that. Then limitation. What is limitation? It may be expensive also, it may be difficult, it may be very difficult to coordinate also. It is lack of uniformity. If certain things are not uniform between the departments or anything like that, then there is a problem. If a particular product is if a particular company is having only narrow product line, means few product in his product, then it is a problem. So at that time it is very difficult for the decentralization. If the product is limited or narrow product line, you can't go for decentralization. Centralization will be suitable, and there are certain external constraints will be there. The labor management relationship will be there, the trade union relationship will be there. Okay, so and the government policy will be there. These are all factors which are influencing as an external constraints or external factor which influencing for this particular decentralization. So it may be expensive also, it may be difficulty in coordinate everybody. You have to consider each and everybody's views, so it is very difficult to coordinate, and you can't get the same type of result every time. There should not be uniformity also. If it is not wide product line, if it is narrow product line, then that is difficult. If there is external constraint like the trade union, their role, okay, so if that could be the case, then it is very difficult to impose this particular techniques of this decentralization. Then what are the factors determining decentralization? So what are the factors which are determining the decentralization? Size and complexity of the organization. If the size is something big, okay, if more people are working, more number of products are there, and that at that time you have to go for decentralization. And if there are different kind of operation will be there, sales operation, this production thing will be there, at that time the management should see the production and as well operation, which will be production as well as sales, which will be the middle level or lower level management is doing, and all related the finance aspect you have to go for centralization. And degree of diversification, how many products lines are there, how many products are there, that also depends upon the decentralization. Availability of competent personnel, whether competitive personnel are there or not. If competent personnel are there, because of their skills, because of their experience, they can take the decision in their own way. So at that time you can go for decentralization. Outlook of top management, whether the top level management want to keep all the authority with himself or want to delegate the authority for further level. So if the top level management want to keep all the authority, they want to reserve all the authority with themselves, then it is centralization which is suitable. If they want to delegate the authority for further level, then decentralization can be helpful. The nature and function, which function you are doing, whether you are doing production function or sales function or marketing function or finance function, that function also consider whether always the finance will be the centralization function, and all the production as well as sales, that is decentralization function. Then communication system, whether widest communication system is there or narrow communication system is there. If widest communication system will be there, then you can go for decentralization. If narrow communication system is there, you can go for the centralization. Then planning and control procedure. Okay, if you want to control the people, if you want to go for controlling of everybody, then you can go for centralization. And if you want that you should see the planning and control and other things has to be taken into considered by the lower level or middle level management, then you can go for decentralization. And complexity of the situation, okay, based upon the situation also you can go for either centralization or decentralization. If certain crucial decision the firm has to take regarding the certain person's dismissal or regarding the certain products launch, at that time you can go for the centralization. And if a certain regular type of decision, regular situation will be there, then you can go for the decentralization. So these are the factors which are determining the decentralization. Then effective decentralization, what is in what case you can tell that is effective decentralization? Appropriate centralization. If appropriate centralization is not there, then the decentralization you can't opt, because it is the centralized people who are having the authority, and it depends upon them whether they want to disperse the power or authority to the further level or not. If appropriate centralization will be there, then only the decentralization will be effective. Otherwise we can't able to go for this decentralization. Then development of managers. So if the good managers are there, if the competent managers are there, if the skillful managers are there, if the experienced managers are there, at that time it is very much helpful that decentralization will take place, and it is at that time the decentralization will be much more effective. If there is an open communication system will be there, where you are allowing other people, other management, other lower level and operation level as well as this middle level management to allow, let they should come forward, let they should communicate, let their views also taken into consideration, at that time the decentralization will be effective. If you want to coordinate properly with each and everybody, so that there should not be any kind of duplication of work will be done, at that time effective delegation, effective decentralization will occur. Similarly, to have a better control of the organization, okay, in order to have a proper control about your organization, you should go for what? Decentralization. So in this way we can get this particular effective decentralization. Okay, appropriate centralization is required, and you should develop those managers who are competent enough to take number of decisions which are coming into day-to-day life. And if the communication system is open, let others should come forward, others should participate in the decision making, others should have the authority to take the decision decision, then at that time that leads to effective decentralization. A proper coordination and control is made in between the people in the organization. If management is able to go for proper control of the particular organization, then at that time you can go for decentralization. Then what is the difference between the delegation and decentralization? Okay, so already we discussed, but we have to discuss in this way. So who delegates? It is the manager delegates. Okay, and decentralization means it is the right to take decision. In delegation, scope is limited. In delegation, the scope is limited, but in decentralization, scope is wider. Responsibility can't be delegated. You can't delegate your responsibility, but in case of decentralization, it can be delegated. Okay, the responsibility can be delegated in case of decentralization. It is routine, but it is important. Small or big company, they can go for this delegation, but big company, they can always prefer for this decentralization. Granting of authority, that is individual. So one individual to another individual, there is a granting of authority. Power is given to one person to another person, individual, but at all level this particular power is given. Okay, whether it is middle level or lower level. Okay, then it varies in degree. So the degree of power, degree of authority, that varies. Okay, but it in the case of this particular decentralization, it spreads, the power spreads with everybody. Then it is delegation happens with superior subordinate relationship, and this particular decentralization happens the relationship between the top level management and department management. Okay, so departmental managers and the top level management, the way they are having the relationship, on the basis of that the decentralization happen, and the delegation happens always based upon the superior subordinate relationship. In delegation, the freedom is quite less, but in case of decentralization, the freedom is quite more. Okay, so that is known as part that is difference between the delegation and decentralization. This is an exam oriented question, delegation and decentralization. Then we have to go for span of management, which is otherwise known as span of control. And who has suggested in this span of management? Graquen's. We have to read the Graquen's theory of span of control. So what is span of management or span of control? How many subordinates should work under a particular supervisor is known as span of management or span of control. कितने subordinate काम करेंगे एक supervisor के अंडर में ताकि अच्छी तरह कंट्रोल हो, एक इफेक्टिव कंट्रोल हो, वो क्या बोलते हैं हम? स्पान ऑफ मैनेजमेंट, और उसको स्पान ऑफ कंट्रोल भी बोलते हैं. सो व्हाट इज अकॉर्डिंग टू द ग्रैक्वेंस थ्योरी ऑफ स्पान ऑफ कंट्रोल? Look at everybody. Gaurav is a person. Okay, Gaurav is a superior, we can say. Under him, two persons are there, Manoj and Samir. Manoj and Samir, who are the subordinate, and Gaurav is the superior. Okay, so there are two persons are there. So what is the direct single relationship, direct group relationship, and cross relationship arises between Gaurav, Manoj and Samir? Look at Gaurav is there at the top. What are the direct relationship? Gaurav with Manoj, okay, and Gaurav with Samir. So Gaurav with Manoj and Gaurav with Samir, that is the direct single relationship. So how many direct single relationship? That is two, Gaurav with Manoj and Gaurav with Samir. And what is the direct group relationship? Gaurav with Manoj in presence of Samir, and Gaurav with Samir in presence of Manoj. Gaurav with Samir in presence of Manoj. So again, how many direct group relationship arises? That is again two. What is the cross relationship? Manoj with Samir, and Samir with Manoj. Manoj with Samir and Samir with Manoj. That is again total of two cross relationship. Okay, how many cross relationship? Two cross relationship. Okay. So therefore the total number of relationship with Gaurav has to control. So in case of two subordinate are there are how many relationship that is coming here? The single relationship 2, direct group relationship 2, and cross relationship 2. So 2 plus 2 plus 2. So how many total relationship are coming when two subordinates are there? There are around 6 relationships are coming, where 2 are the direct single relationship, 2 are the direct group relationship, and 2 are the cross relationship. Look at the number of direct relationship. We can mention n. Okay, as there are 2 subordinates who are there. Okay, n is the number of subordinate. If n is the number of subordinate, then how many direct relationship? N, that is 2. How many cross relationship? That is n into n minus 1. So 2 into 2 minus 1, that is 2. Number of group relationship, how you can calculate? N 2, okay, 2 to the power n minus 1 minus 1. So here 2 is there, 2 to n minus 1, 2 to n minus 1 का मतलब क्या है? 2, 2 to this is 2 minus 1, okay. So 2 to 2 minus 1, 2 minus 1 का मतलब क्या है? That is 2, okay. So 2 to a square, that is how much? 2 to a square is 4. 4 into 2, how much? 8. 8 minus 1, that is 7. So there are a number of group relationship should be 7 in this case, this formula, but we have to check whether that is 7 or 6. So यहाँ पे क्या आया? 2, okay. 2 to the power 2, that is 2 minus 1, 2 minus 1 equal to 1, okay. 2 minus 1 equal to 1. So 2 to 1 equal to 2, okay. So 2 to 1, 2, 2 minus 1 is how much? 2 minus 1, that is 1, 1 into 2, 2. So here correct is, okay. So number of group relationships should be 2, as in our past example number of group relationship is 2. So in this case that is also 2. So 2 to n, that is 2 minus 1, 2 minus 1 मतलब 1, 2 to 1 equal to 2, 2 minus 1 equal to 1, 1 into 2 equal to 2, okay. So in this way we have to calculate the number of direct relationship, cross relationship and number of group relationship, okay. And how many total relationship, that can be count on this formula. Look at everybody, last example we found that as there are 2 subordinates will be there, and how many total relationship we found? There are 6 total relationship will be found. So the total relationship can be found with this formula, that is 2 to a 2, okay. n is the number of subordinate, 2 to a 2 मतलब 4, 4 by 2 मतलब 2, plus this particular 2 minus 1. So 4 by 2, 2 plus 2 minus 1. So how much? This is 4, okay. This is 2, okay. This is 2 minus 1, that is 1, 2 plus 1, 3, 3 into 2, that is 6. So total is the 6. So n is the number of subordinate. In this way you can go for this particular, okay, calculation of total number of subordinate, okay. Look at, if 5 number will be there, if 5 are the number of subordinates, then how many total relationships are coming? That is 100, okay. How it is coming 100? That is with this formula, 2 to n by 2 plus n minus 1. 2 to n मतलब 2 to 5, 2 to 5 मतलब 32, 32 by 2, that is 16. Here n minus 1, that is 5 minus 1, that is 4. So 16 4 is 20, multiplied by n, that is 5. So 5 number of subordinate will be there. Then how many total relationships are coming? That is around 100 relationship are coming. It may be the single relationship, it may be the cross relationship, it may be the group relationship. So total relationship is coming by how much? 100, okay. Then responsibility. What is this responsibility is all about? So duty or task assigned to a subordinate by virtue of his position in the organization, okay. So किसी को duty दिया गया है, किसी को duty दिया गया है as he is a subordinate in the organization. The task or responsibility, task or duty is given to somebody is known as what? Responsibility. According to Kunz and O'Donnell, responsibility may be defined as the obligation of a subordinate to whom duty has been assigned to perform duty. So it is the obligation to be given to a subordinate to perform a particular job, perform a particular duty is known as responsibility, okay. Always remember that delegation is having the 3 elements, that is the responsibility, authority and accountability. Responsibility, authority and accountability. And the first thing on the delegation, the first element under the delegation is responsibility, okay. And characteristics of responsibility is responsibility is always given to the human beings only, not machines. It arises because of the superior and subordinate relationship. If you are a subordinate, you have to take the responsibility, you have to take the obligation, okay. Then a continuing obligation or confined to the performance of a single function, okay. And we are expecting that the particular person who are having the responsibility, they have to perform something, okay. They have to perform a single function. Responsibility may be defined in terms of function or target, okay. You have to perform that particular job or this is your target, you have to produce this much of amount of output. So always the responsibility is defined in terms of function as well as target, and responsibility is a derivative of authority. So how the responsibility is coming? Because you are given certain authority, so you are responsible. Responsibility is absolute and it can't be delegated. Responsibility never be delegated. If you are a superior, then if you want to delegate something to your subordinate authority, ultimately if certain unhappening things will occur by because of this because of the things done by the particular subordinate which went wrong, then it is the superior who is responsible. So responsibility is absolute and responsibility never be delegated, that we have to remember. Responsibility flows upward. यहाँ पे ऑथोरिटी डाउनवर्ड फ्लो करता है, लेकिन रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी हमेशा क्या है, अपवर्ड फ्लो करता है. ओके, suppose general manager has given certain tasks to the department manager, and department manager has to given certain tasks to the assistant manager. Then if certain unhappening things happen with the assistant manager, it is the department manager who is liable to the general manager. Okay, so responsibility flows always upward. The person who accepts responsibility is accountable for his performance. If you are accepting this is my responsibility, okay, if certain task is given to you, certain performance is expected from you, then you are accountable to your superior. Okay, तुमने ये जॉब किया, तुमने ये जॉब नहीं किया, तुमने ये टारगेट फुलफिल किया, इतना तक किया. So you are always accountable to your superior from whom you are received the order. Okay, characteristics. Then techniques of responsibility. The responsibility techniques can be two types, that is responsibility charting and role negotiation. These are the two techniques which are followed, and as I discussed, the most three elements of the delegation is all about the authority. Authority means you have to give certain rights or the power to someone to take decision, that is authority. And responsibility nothing but it is the obligation of a particular subordinate, okay, of his performance, that is responsibility. Accountability means it is the action a particular subordinate has done, he should be accountable to his superior, that is known as what? Accountability. Okay, so this is all about the important elements of delegation of authority, that is delegation, that is authority, responsibility and accountability. And next class we will read these techniques of what? Responsibility. Okay, so what we discussed today, just to have a look, just have a check it out. So today we discuss about the centralization, जहाँ पे कि upper level management, top level management decision लेता है, जिसके controlling power ज़्यादा है, जो जिसके पास रिजर्व होता है ऑथोरिटी, वो डिसीजन लेता है, वो सेंट्रलाइजेशन है. ऑपोजिट टू सेंट्रलाइजेशन क्या है? डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन है, जहाँ पे कि सारे लोग आते हैं, सारे को फ्रीडम दिया गया है, वो आए, वो डिसीजन ले, वो डे टू डे एक्टिविटी में उनको भी पावर दिया गया है कि वो डिसीजन ले. एंड वी डिस्कस अबाउट व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन द डेलीगेशन एंड डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन. ओके, and what is the advantages of decentralization we also covered, and what is the limitation and what are the factors determining the decentralization we covered, and what is the effective decentralization and the difference between the decentralization and delegation, which is a exam oriented question. Every student has to understand the delegation and decentralization. And remember, the whenever delegation happens, that is happens from one individual to another individual, one superior to another subordinate. But in case of decentralization, the group of people who are having the authority to take decision is known as decentralization. And we discussed Graquin's theory of what? Span of control. Span of control matlab how many people will be there under a supervisor or a manager, so that there should be a better controllability of that particular organization, is known as what is that? Span of control. And we discuss about how many direct single relationship, direct groups relationship, direct cross relationship and total relationship arise with this particular formula. Okay, so and also we discuss about the responsibility characteristics, and discuss about the most important components or elements of delegation, that is authority, that we discussed responsibility and accountability. Okay, So this is all about today's class, what we discuss about this centralization, decentralization, as well as the difference between the delegation and decentralization, and also the responsibility, and also the most three elements of this particular delegation, that is authority, responsibility and accounting. Thank you for listening patiently. Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe our channel, The Commerce Lab.